Up next, detectives laid 12 extra charges as part of an ongoing investigation into alleged offences. Muswellbrook residents speak of their fears for the town's future following BHP's decision to close the Mount Arthur coal in 2030. And David Clemmer gets a good chance to jog back into Brad Fittler's New South Wales Blues team when the Knights clash with the Canberra Raiders tomorrow. That's up next on NBN News. Good evening, my name's Conklin McLeod of NBN's Saturday Night News. Tonight, detectives investigate alleged verbal offences right in the Hunter. Muswellbrook residents speak of their fears for the town's future after BHP announced its decisions to close the Mount Arthur coal mine early. And David Clemmer has a chance to get back into Brad Fittler's New South Wales State of Origin rights for when his Newcastle Knights defeat the Canberra Raiders tomorrow. But first, detectives have laid 12 extra charges as part of an ongoing investigation into alleged verbal offences. Detectives have been investigating several alleged verbal offences that occurred between April the 22nd and May in the Singleton Heights area. Following inquiries, a 21-year-old man was charged by Hunter Valley detectives on June 9. Following further investigations and analysis of further forensic evidence, a search warrant was executed at a home in Singleton Heights on Thursday, where clothing was seized and an additional 12 charges were pressed against the man. The charges include 3 counts each of willful and obscene exposure in or near a public place or school, and entering enclosed land without a lawful excuse, as well as 2 counts each of carrying out a verbal act without consent, peeping or prying and entering a building or land with intent to commit an indictable offence. He was also charged with 1 count each of taking a person with intent to commit a serious indictable offence and verbally touching a person without consent. Muswellbrook residents spoke of their fears for the town's future on Friday after BHP announced plans to close the Mount Arthur coal mine in 2030. The mine is the largest in New South Wales and more than 2,000 people. You freak out because this whole town relies heavily on mining. We all rely on it. That was the message spoken from Becky Osmond, the manager for Eaton's Hotel, following the BHP's decision to close the Mount Arthur coal mine in 2030. Also, Rotary Club member Louise Hosey said her family and the town was mining through and thought they have fed us, They've afforded us our houses and fought. She worries about what will happen in our community. She said BHP's announcement increased pressure on the state and federal governments to support Muswellbrook and Upper Hunter communities facing economic and social upheaval. Built on the black and hands of coal miners, the news BHP will shutter its Mount Arthur operation by 2030 has suffocated Muswellbrook like a thick film of soot. Also, coal mining doesn't just run in the veins of families, it's the lifeblood of local businesses. BHP has helped pay for brick and mortar services, equipment for sports clubs, and brought thousands of dollars into local watering holes as miners stop for post-walk school. For many, losing that feels like a gut punch. The wrecking ball has finally hit the 62-year-old Hunter Street Mall car park. Demolition machinery could be seen at the site this week, with part of the structure now visibly torn down. The car park was closed in mid-2020 due to structural concerns. Meanwhile, City of Newcastle said 3 acoustic shelters have been implemented to minimise noise during demolition work. The demolition phase began in May and is expected to be completed by August, which council said will reveal the stunning view corridor. Police are warning residents of a Lake Macquarie suburb to take care after a spate of thefts from parked motor vehicles. Police said there were 6 cases at Valentine on Tuesday night alone, saying in a message on social media on Thursday that it was a good indication that there is someone active in the area. Residents are being urged to ensure cars are locked outside homes and that they do not leave valuable items like wallets, handbags, and phones unattendable in unattended vehicles. Police said stolen debit and credit cards obtained during these types of thefts were then often used in secondary fraud offences, given how easy PayWave makes it. Anyone with further information about the string of robberies at Valentine has been asked to contact a Lake Macquarie police station or Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. There was an arrest up at Waratah yesterday, and of course it happened at around about 10 p.m. And of course at about 10 p.m. on Wednesday, the 15th of June, a male stole an esky and filled it with other stolen items at Kmart at Waratah before leaving. At about 6:45 a.m. on the 16th of June, the same male entered a shed in Waratah and stole a motor. He then entered Turton Road and pushed the esky into a motorcycle, causing damage to the motorcycle and almost causing the rider to crash. Police attended and arrested the male to locate illegal drugs and stolen property in his possession. He was taken to Waratah Police Station, where he continued to commit offences causing damage to a cell. He was refused bail and has been remanded, and he'll remain in the courts until at least later this month. Sports up next. as the Knights hoping to defeat the Raiders at GIO Stadium.
Power your PC with the Intel Pentium 4 processor and discover the most amazing digital music and video ever. For incredible PC experiences, look for this symbol.
The trouble with some antibiotics is that they don't only attack bad bacteria, they may also attack good bacteria, which can lead to intestinal upsets. Now there's Inner Health. 1 2-week course may restore 1.5 billion good bacteria to help maintain inner health.
You lot check the stomach, you go sort out the intestines, and you guys get down the bowel.
Look for Inner Health at your pharmacy.
With the power of a new V6 Ford Escape, you can.
There are sports, and there are extreme sports. Just like there are compact four-wheel drives, and there's the Nissan X-Trail. An extreme all-mode four-wheel drive system, an extreme interior, and extreme power. The X-Trail. Only Nissan takes the compact four-wheel drive to the extreme. The trouble with some antibiotics is that they don't only attack bad bacteria, they may also attack good bacteria, which can lead to intestinal upsets. Now there's Inner Health. 1 2-week course may restore 1.5 billion good bacteria to help maintain inner health.
You lot check the stomach, you go sort out the intestines, and you guys get down the bowel.
Look for Inner Health at your pharmacy.
The forgotten man of State of Origin Knights prop David Clemmer gets a chance to jog New South Wales coach Brad Fittler's memory when he clashes head-on with long-time advisory Josh Papali at Canberra Stadium on Sunday. Clemmer has made 14 interstate appearances for the Blues, but has not been required since helping Fittler win back-to-back series in 2018 and 19. Of course, Clemmer is also hoping that he needs to score tries as part of Newcastle's must-win. Knights coach Adam O'Brien believes Clemmer has rarely played better, and after New South Wales' 16-10 loss in last week's season opener, the 20-year-old warhorse could come back into calculations for Origin 2 on Sunday week. There are clouds over the starting front rowers. New South Wales selected for that game after Regan Campbell-Gillard was widely criticised for his performance, and Payne Haas was replaced with a shoulder injury, playing for Brisbane 3 nights later. On Sunday, Clemmer will do battle with a familiar sparring partner in Papali, who has been a cornerstone of Queensland's pack in 21 Origins. Clemmer and his engine room partner, Jacob Saifidi, a standby player in New South Wales' extended squad for Origin number 1, are primed for a heavyweight showdown with Papili and Kiwi international Joseph Tarpine that will go a long way towards deciding tomorrow's contest. With regards to Origin, Clemmer said that he will be stoked to win a recall, but his focus is to keep doing his job and playing the footy. He's playing for the Knights. And of course, the Knights are refusing to give up on their unlikely quest to make the finals. And of course, Clemmer said, as a playing group, we were disappointed when we came in, and the fans would have been as well. We've got to start winning footy games, plain and simple. If we want to play semi-final football, we've got to get that hunger back and start winning footy games. Meanwhile, towering Knights winger Dominic Young revealed that England coach Shane Wayne has reached out to Gorg his interest into representing his country at birth at the end of season World Cup. Still on the Knights, and of course, West Group chairman Owen Kilpatrick has torpedoed suggestions Adam O'Brien will be the next NRL coach with his head on the chopping block, declaring the Knights are not about to sack and pay out another coach. Asked directly this week about O'Brien's future following the club's plummeting fortunes this season and the possibility of him being axed and paid out with more than 2 years left to run on his contract, Kilpatrick was emphatic, saying this, well, that won't be happening. We've got to stick with Adam, support him, and work our way out of this. To soccer and in the A-League, the Newcastle Jets' hopes of retaining Daniel Penna appear almost dead, with reports that the brilliant Brazilian is close to finalising a move to Korea. Penna's loan deal in Newcastle expires this month. Meanwhile, Sydney had emerged as the Jets' main rival for Penna's services and were understood to have tabled a deal worth $800,000 a season. To ice hockey, and of course, Captain Liam Manwaring expects the return of coach and defenseman John Kennedy Jr. to prove a big boost as the Newcastle North Stars target maximum points for a weekend doubleheader with Canberra at the Hunter Ice Skating Stadium. The second place North Stars concedes the Australian Ice Hockey League lead with victories over the competition pace settlers on both Saturday and tomorrow, on both this afternoon and tomorrow. Brave lead the standings with 25 points from 10 outings, while Newcastle are unbeaten on 24 points after 8 starts. Netball Australia says it's not on the brink of financial collapse amid a cash crisis overshadowing the start of the sport's elite level final series. Netball Australia has lost $7.2 million in the past 2 years and have bank loans of around $4 million. In last year's season, it lost about $4.4 million, with much of the loss blamed on the cost of hubs during the COVID-19 pandemic. There were 2 games played in Newcastle Rugby League with round 12. Because of that, Cessnock secured a win over Macquarie, and that was all thanks to a field goal. And also, the Curry Bulldogs losing streak continues after they were hammered by Western Suburbs. Meanwhile, the final 3 games will be played tomorrow between Lakes United and Wyong, while the entrants are up against Maitland and Central Newcastle are up against South Newcastle. There was only one match in the under-19s reserve grade, and Macquarie has secured a win over Cessnock. And of course, the final ones will be played tomorrow. But in the under-19s, though, Cessnock defeated Macquarie 24-14. In round 9 of Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League, Dora Creek defeated Woodbury, while Dudley defeated South Newcastle. In round 9 of the Northern Conference of the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League, and Patterson were too strong for Tea Gardens, while Gloucester defeated Raymond Terrace, while Strode Clarence were too good for Morpeth, and Dungog defeated Hinton. Meanwhile, the B grade of Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League of the men's competition started on Friday, with Windale defeating Katawa 22-16. Meanwhile, Cardiff secured a 24-4 win over Northern Lakes, while University and Glendale were forced to call off their match because of the wet weather. Good news for the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League's Ladies League Tag C grade competition. All games went ahead, and because of that, round 9 came back. Morpeth took down the Wobbecal, while Cardiff continued their undefeated winning streak to beat down Shortland 20 points to 4, while Dudley secured a win over Raymond Terrace, and Tea Gardens took down West Wallsend 4-0. Meanwhile, Hunter Rugby Union came back after a week off. Because of that, Maitland secured a win over Southern Beaches. Meanwhile, Mayweather Carlton secured a 96-5 win over Lake Macquarie, while the University of Newcastle had the bye. And of course, the match between the Wanderers and Nelson Bay was abandoned due to wet weather. Also, the Hamilton Hawks defeated Singleton 71-7 to the women's, and of course, the matches between Mayweather Carlton, Madawi, the Wanderers, and Maitland were all called off due to sunny conditions, as well as the wet weather. But our University Newcastle had the bye, and the only match that was played was of course Hamilton up against the Waratahs, as the Hawks defeated the Waratahs 26-7. The under-18s at the Hunters NPL competition men's was the only one to quickly have it on, because the others were washed out because of wet weather. Meanwhile, Adamstown and Maitland shared the points 3-all, while Lambton and Charlestown played very well in a match for which the Lambton Jaffers secured a 2-1 win. Meanwhile, the reserve grade also went according to plan. Maitland took down Adamstown 3-1, while Lambton secured a huge 5-2 win over Charlestown. While the rest of the matches were called off because of the wet weather. Meanwhile, 2 matches of the Hunters NPL women's competition has had to be called off because of wet weather. And those, of course, were the matches between the Mid Coast and Newcastle Olympic, and the matches between Adamstown and Maitland. But tomorrow it'll be better though, because Newlambton, Broadmeadow Magic, Warners Bay, and Charlestown Azuri will have their matches played tomorrow. Sturvis, the weather for Newcastle is coming up after the break.
Want to see your dreams come true, and the reason that we're here today is just because of you. This is our town. It's here that we're born and bred. We've been through the rough times, been through the tough times, know about the good times ahead. We know how to do it your way. Build it up in your own hometown. Make it grow with the people you know, people who won't let you down. You know where you
on softness.
To the weather now, and it was alright across Newcastle, and it was okay. But despite the showers and the wet weather, it was also sunny as well. Meanwhile, it was partly cloudy today. There was a 70% chance of any rain, and of course, medium of 60% chance of showers. But it could be the same by tomorrow with a 80% chance of high chance of showers as well. Now let's have a look at the 7-day forecast. As Newcastle had 11 to with a minimum of 11 to a maximum of 20, and also Toronto had a minimum of 9 to 20, while Wallsend had a minimum of 10 to a maximum of 20 degrees. The high tide is the high tide for tomorrow is at around about 6:37 in the morning, while the low is at 12:48 tomorrow afternoon. And of course, the sun's getting up at 6:55, setting at 4:54, and it'll be alright for Newcastle as well. And of course, Newcastle will be okay, and of course, so too will the Hunter. And of course, Scone will be fine, and so too will Gosford. Finally tonight, the title of this year's Starstruck show is certainly appropriate. Iconic marks the 30th anniversary of the shows, which began in 1992 to give school students in Newcastle, the Hunter, the Central Coast, and the Lower North Coast the chance to develop and reveal their talent as actors, singers, dancers, and musicians. And all the routines in Iconic's two 70-minute halves have people of all ages leaning forward on their seats and applauding loudly at the end of each number. The show, which has two staging teams, features 3,000 actors, musicians, comedians, and people who developed the costumes and settings, and it certainly shows their skills. And that brings you up to date from NBN News for the latest news from NBN for this Saturday. But for now, from all of us here, good night.